Una matrigna tutta vestita di verde in Cenerentola, una strega buona vestita di viola in questo film. Che gusto particolare c'è nell'interpretare delle favole?
Well, I've always been very... I don't need to hear myself speak. I can't speak English very well either, so forgive me. Well, in relation, your question was sort of started off being about costume. And for me, particularly in film, you have very little rehearsal time, so often your dialogue with the costume designer is your first place to start experimenting, you know, whether it's with colour, whether it's with line, working out how a character might move, and also what world you're in. So I don't know if it's fairy tales per se that I'm interested in, storytelling definitely, but you know, I definitely enjoyed the costumes of both of those films, and working with Sandy Powell and with Marlene, who did the costumes on The House with the Clock in its Walls. It was a huge part of the process for me.
Buongiorno, Patrizia Simonetti, Spettacolo Mania, buongiorno, un piacere, molto piacere. Volevo chiederle, nel film c'è una frase che lei, il suo personaggio ripete molto spesso e che è: la magia è dentro di te, la magia è dentro di noi. Ovviamente si può interpretare in moltissimi modi, come la forza di reagire, la forza di cambiare, tutto ciò che ci serve, anche la forza di vivere stesso è dentro di noi e dobbiamo soltanto trovarla. Volevo sapere da lei se anche lei questa frase l'ha intesa, insomma, in questo modo, e che cos'è per lei la magia che è dentro di noi, e poi quanto ama questo genere di film, visto che insomma ne interpreta diversi. Grazie.
Well, yes, the film is obviously about magic. What I loved about the script and the world that Eli Roth created with John Hutton, the production designer, was that it was magic in the real world. And magic is all about transformation. It has been right back to the shamans. It's all about changing, you know, lead into gold, you know, alchemy. And the idea of that being a metaphor for now is, I think, a really exciting one. Is that we don't have to remain in a place of stasis, that we can actually change and transform into something else. And I think that's a very positive message to children. It's a children, it's a family film. So you don't want to get too heavy or preachy, frankly. But it's a wonderful, gentle message to send to children, that you don't have to remain labelled and identified by those things that you are at high school or at university or even in the workplace. You can change those things, which I think is really, yeah, it's a very positive message.
Salve, Giuseppe Benincasa per Wide Movie. La domanda è questa: lei ha interpretato molti personaggi in tantissimi film. Quello che le volevo chiedere è: quando interpreta un personaggio in un film per bambini, pensa di avere una responsabilità in più o no?
Do I have more responsibility maybe doing for children? I have 4 children, which is a big responsibility, and part of it, I don't know whether for right or for wrong, I've never spoken to my children as anything less than human beings. I don't. What I love about the film is it doesn't patronise children. It doesn't make the world a sentimental, happy, easy place. It actually, and the film talks about this, it celebrates the weirdness of all of the characters. I think that the notion of childhood actually is a 19th century concept. It didn't exist, you know, in ages prior to that, and it's certainly become a marketing concept. And I think children are much more resilient and wise and capable and knowing about the world around them. And so to present complex worlds for them, I think is far more exciting task and opportunity as an actor, rather than trying to teach them a lesson. Because I don't know about if any of you have children, but my children can smell a lesson 100 miles away and run in the other direction. I think if you entertain them and then get them to ask questions, big questions, it's then the responsibility, actually, of the people who take the children to the film to start that dialogue. Because in the end, a film it's not, even a documentary, I don't think they're pieces of, they're not an educative tool, they're provocative tools. And it's beholden upon the audience then to pick that provocation up and talk to the children about the issues that are in the film. I don't know, I hope that answered your question. When you get to the age that I am, and yes, I've been lucky enough to win a few awards, it doesn't mean I necessarily deserve them, but I got them, and the one always focuses on the successes. And I think what makes you indomitable is what you learn from your failures, and I have had thousands of them, both personally and professionally, and they have taught me far more about being beaten down, getting back up, not trying to not repeat the same mistakes. Then I think you learn very little from success. So if anything has made me indomitable, and I don't know whether I am, then it has been the failures. And often my successes I have deemed failures. So I'm only ever looking for the mistakes, actually, because it's those little holes that you could then tell you where to go next. But I think the challenge as an actor, particularly in the public eye, I don't think one experiences this quite so much in the theatre, although theatre criticism can be brutal, is that you have to develop a very thick skin, but you also have to remain profoundly sensitive. So you've got to keep those two states alive. So yes, you want to be courageous and fearless, but you've also got to know when to shut up. So I'm going to shut up right now.
Una domanda lì?
Hi, I wanted to ask you about an upcoming project you're doing, playing Lucille Ball, one of the greatest female entertainers of all time. How does it feel to step in her shoes, working with her in Sorkin, and what do you want the story to tell about her that we don't know?
Well, yes, I've long been obsessed by Lucille Ball. Who hasn't? I mean, she's not only as an actress, as a comedian, but as a producer, as a parent, as a force of nature within Hollywood. You step onto a film set in America, and the male and female loos on a film set, bathrooms, are called Desi and Lucy. So they've influenced even the way we ablute in Hollywood, such is her influence. But the script has been written by Aaron Sorkin, which is extremely exciting, and he's still working on that. And until a director comes on board, as wonderful as the script is, it won't become a movie. So it's a work in progress, but one I'm very excited about. So I haven't yet stepped into her shoes. I'm still a fan.
Sì, un attimo, volevo fare una domanda io e chiederle, I will speak in English. What inspired you as a child? What kind of stories, what kind of movies or books inspired you?
I was obsessed by horror, still am. I would have watched 4 or 5 horror movies every weekend. And that's why I was so excited to work with Eli Roth on putting a director who's very known for being extraordinary in that genre, working on a so-called family movie. I thought the smash-up juxtaposition of that would be extremely exciting. And I think it was probably pitting myself against, I can see it in one of my sons. What terrifies him, he runs towards. And I think that's probably what I've continued to do. I've always taken on roles that I haven't known how to do, or think, oh, I'm going to fail in this, or this is going to be the end of my career. So I think it's always those death-defying experiences that have attracted me. I was very obsessed with Sherlock Holmes and Nancy Drew detective novels, solving mysteries, and riding my bicycle. None of you can ride bicycles? Is that what that applause is about? It's a good thing to do. Although around my area, it's the middle. I'm sure it must happen in Italy. You get to middle age as a man, you shave your legs, and you start wearing lycra, and on the weekend you just ride your bike dressed in the most hideous lycra imaginable. Is that a phenomenon here? It certainly is in East Sussex, where I live.
Quali sono state le sue fonti di... Quali sono state le sue fonti di ispirazione letterarie o magari cinematografiche nella costruzione di questo personaggio? Grazie.
It's funny, I don't read novels or go to art galleries or watch films or listen to music thinking consciously, how can I apply this to my work directly? I think I consume things like that simply for the love and interest. And so those resonances and influences, if you're alive to what's going on in the world, and also what's going on socially and politically, it doesn't necessarily have to be a work of art, they somehow sit dormant within you, and you're never sure what's going to come up. I've been thinking a lot about grey hair, not that I have any, but and so I just thought, oh, that'd be fun to do, and so I started really from a visual point of view. I also looked at a lot of old photographs, because there's just a very gentle reference to the fact that my character survived the death camps, has been through the Second World War and has lost a child, and so that's a texture for parents to talk to their children about. But so I looked at a lot of old photographs to see just to see what people, the energy that they gave off. But I couldn't consciously say. Sometimes those things come up in the moment in a scene. But usually, and then this is definitely the case in this particular film, is that I'd read the book as a child. I'd only read the first of the series, and so I went back because they were all out of print. Hopefully they'll come back into print after now that the film's been released, because they're wonderful stories. And so I went back and I had this fantastic process of reading a few of them to my 10-year-old. So I watched the reaction of my 10-year-old as I was reading him the stories to see which part of the stories interested him. Because in the end, you can influence away, but if you're not connecting to your audience, then it's all a bit pointless. So he was definitely my audience. So I kind of worked from his reaction to the material.
Essere genitore è avere sempre paura e continuare comunque a farlo. Lei lo dice il suo personaggio. Alla fine lo zio Jonathan e Mrs. Zimmerman diventano genitori adottivi di Josh, di Lewis, e quindi volevo sapere com'è la sua esperienza di mamma adottiva, di genitore adottivo, visto che lo è.
About an experience of someone who has adopted a child. Well, contrary to popular belief, as an actor, I don't think about myself and my own experiences when I'm creating a role. I am totally bored with myself. I don't know what you're all doing here. Maybe you're all bored as well. Just have a little sleep. I couldn't be less interested in my own experience and bringing that to the screen or to the stage. The whole process of acting for me is an empathetic one where you try and understand someone else's reality. Yes, I think the film very much talks about three people who are in various ways orphaned or marooned, and they have to come together as a family, as a sort of a broken family, in order to find their collective power to solve the problem at hand. And I think families are formed in many, many different ways. They always have been, but they haven't necessarily always been socially accepted or acknowledged. In terms of my own experience, there's absolutely no difference between the love that I have for my adopted daughter and my 3 biological boys.
Dal Press. Visto che nel film si parla di magia, le vorrei...
I'm slow.
Salve. Visto che nel film si parla di magia, le vorrei chiedere se potesse scegliere un potere magico, quale sceglierebbe e perché? Grazie.
Oh, what would I would make sure that everyone with the age of 18 and up registers to vote in the American elections, the midterms. That's what I do. I come from a country where it's voting in democracy is compulsory, and I think that freedom is a responsibility that is fast becoming a massive responsibility. So I would encourage everyone to vote. I don't know why the rest of the world can't vote in the American elections, because it affects us all, but yes, definitely helping people to register to vote.